Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm going to be discussing my April wrap-up. This was my month where I had the goal of reading 26 books to honor my birthday because I was turning 26, and I'm so happy to announce, this is a spoiler, I did it. I did it. And I'm so proud of myself. I read 26 books, most of them were physical books. I think my average rate was a 4.29. I did a Shatter Me reread, I completed a magical readathon, and I decided to do something new with this video because I know in the past I have said, like, man, I really wish I could say more. I wish I could do a better job of explaining these things because I was waiting to the end of the month, and then waiting until the end of the month, I was forgetting things. So what I did this time was I took a clip every Sunday. I did a weekly update of the books that I've read, and I reviewed them, I described them every single week so that I could hopefully give you better descriptions and better reviews. I guess we'll find out at the end of this to see how I did. And it was great. It was a really great month. I read the new Watch Me, which is the new book in the Shatter Me spin-off series. And what else can I say about stats? I think I read close to 10,000 pages. Yep, I read close to 10,000 pages. I read like 50% with my physical books. I read, I think, 5 off of my 25 and 2025 list. It was a good month. It was a really good month. And I hope you like the way that I did this video because I do talk about spoilers, but I give you a spoiler warning before I talk about each book. So I will say there's slight spoilers just going ahead about the books that I read, and if I give major ones, it will be said before the book, I can talk about the book. But I really hope that everyone enjoys this video. I hope everyone had a great reading month. You can let me know what your favorite book was of the month. My favorite book was really hard to pick because obviously I'm filming this after the clips of me reading. I'm filming this on May 1st. The month's already just happened. And I had such a hard time picking a favorite book. I was in between like 3 of them for a while. Let me open my spreadsheet and I'll tell you what I was in between. The books that I was in between was Fearless, Faithbreaker, and Watermoon. I think I ended up picking Watermoon because that book just stood out to me so much. Let me double check myself that I'm telling you the right book. Yes, I did go with Watermoon. This book is amazing. I talked about it in the clip, but those were 3 books that I gave 5-star, and I had a really hard time picking between the 3 of them because they all blew me away in their own reasons and ways, and they were both exceptional books. So really I have 3 favorites, but for the point of my best book of the year bracket, I did have to pick one, and I did pick Watermoon to go forth in the competition. But I really hope you like this, and if you read any of the books I talk about in this video, you can let me know, or if I've inspired you to read any of these that I talk about, you can let me know as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and get into the clip that was filmed the first Sunday of April, which feels really weird to say. It's like almost going in the past, but anyways, you'll see what I did. You'll see. Go forward. Go do it. It is April 7th. I'm gonna go over what I read the first week of April. I read 8 books, and before you get too excited, they were like really short books, which doesn't like take away that I read them. They're just like so easy to get through, and I did that on purpose because I was like, let me go ahead and get my short books out of the way, and that way I can get into like the real chunkiness of the month. So I did kind of like a binge of my short books, but I read 3 ebooks, and then I read the first half of the Fruits Basket manga. God, I love these. Since these are already in my hand, I guess I'll start with these. I watched the anime probably like a year and a half ago, and it's so good. So this is about, the main character is a girl whose mom died, and she's been living in a tent ever since because she was living with her grandparent, but he had to get his house renovated, so he was like, can you go stay with a friend? And she lied and said that she would be staying with a friend, but in reality she had no friend to stay with, so she's just been living in a tent. Well, one day while walking walking in that area, she discovers that there was another house nearby, and that there were people that live there, and it's a house full of men. And she comes to realize that these men are like possessed by the Chinese Zodiac Academy. Oh my god, Zodiac Academy? That's a series, babe. Sorry. They have been possessed by the Chinese like zodiac spirits. And I won't go like who is each one, because that, I think you should get that enjoyment yourself. but they were like, she talks about how much she loves that stuff, and they find out that she's been living in a tent, and they were like, you should just come stay with us. Since you already know our big secret, like, you should go ahead and just come live with us. So she moves in with them, and that's what the books are pretty much about. It's like her navigating, learning about these, and it's not just men, it's an entire family that are possessed. They're all possessed, like there's 12 people that's possessed by the spirits, and it's about navigating like friendships with them, about like the trauma they've gone through, and it's like really cute, but it's also really sad at times. And I literally binged all of these over the weekend, and it put me right back into when I watched the show, and I love them. I'm so deeply connected to these characters, and I just have so much love for them, and I definitely will be picking up the rest of the series hopefully soon so I can read the rest of it. But it's really good. It is probably my second favorite anime ever, so I think the manga probably gonna be just as good in my opinion. And the manga goes longer than the TV show. The TV show was only 2 seasons, and these are 12 volumes, and then there's actually a sequel series. So doing the manga, I'm getting like way more content. So I'm so excited to be able to see all of that. And then I read WAIF. I think I'm saying that right. It was the Tiny Terror book for the month. And I actually surprisingly like this, but I didn't love it enough to like rate it high. I gave it like a 3.75. It is about, the main character is a girl who thinks she has everything. Like, she's like, oh, I have a nice home, a husband, like he has good money, but she says that she has not been getting like sexually satisfied, and she's never been sexually satisfied in her marriage. So one day when she's at the grocery store, she sees this man who literally fulfills the fantasies that she's been having, and she becomes like obsessed with him. Was obsessed, like she starts stalking him. And then I don't want to give too much away because this is like, you know, the Tiny Terror, my friends will be reading it. Actually, you know what, I can give spoilers because by the time this comes out, everyone should have already read it. So if for some reason you're watching this and you haven't read WAIF and you plan on reading WAIF, then don't watch this because I am going to get into like the spoiler part of it. I've changed my mind. So when she gets home from the grocery store, her husband's like, where the hell have you been? And she admits to him what she was doing, and she's like, I saw this man, and he's the man I think about when we, you know, do the deed. And her husband is like, okay, I need to look exactly like him then. So her husband goes out and starts getting plastic surgery, but no like actual plastic surgeon will see him. So he goes to like this guy who does it like in the black market kind of, but the surgeries go horribly. Like, he becomes deformed, like he's grotesque, like. And what ends up happening is that the plastic surgeon was actually like a sadistic like adult movies filmer, and he was pretty much giving the husband these botched plastic surgeries, and then when he was drugged was doing like horribly nasty things to him on camera and then selling it to people. And her husband is like pretty much like completely just out of his mind at this point. Like, I don't even know how he's alive. But he ends up going and finding the guy that she met at the grocery store, and he pays him to go have sex with his wife. But the wife doesn't realize that it's the grocery store man. Like, when he comes home, she thinks that's her husband. So they, you know, do the deed, and it's actually she didn't consent. She didn't know who that actually was. So when she starts telling her husband, like, oh my God, I can't believe you just made me have sex with someone that I didn't consent to. That's sexual violence, blah, 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 blah. You know the word that I'm thinking of. And her husband just starts stabbing her in the breast. And when she wakes up, she is like in the adult film place, and she pretty much, only way to escape is by killing the film producer. So she kills the film producer, runs off with this hot lady that's in a gang, I think, and then they're like happily ever after together. And then at some point she realizes that she's probably a lesbian or like bisexual. It was like really chaotic, but I actually like was really into it the entire time. Like 3.75, maybe even like a very low 4. For once, I'm like enjoyed it. And then I read the Devour of Men, which is the second book in a series that is like Peter Pan-esque type. It's like, but these characters are like Hook and the crocodile. And so I really like this book because it is like a female with two men, so like the smut is like very like open and like hot. But it's just, you actually like in this book you actually get to learn like where like Crocodile is from, and you get to learn like some secrets that have been kept this like in the other series as well. Like stuff actually starts to come to light in this one, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. Like I wouldn't even say like the plot itself was like banger, because there really wasn't much of a plot. It was just like finally getting some truths but also getting more questions, so I gave it a 4. And then the last book that I read, which actually was the first book that I read, but like the last book I'm gonna talk about, was Faithbreaker, which is a new release that I had this month, and I devoured it. It was so good. I think it's my favorite book in the series. It was such a great conclusion to the trilogy, and I was so emotional that when I finished the book, I literally had to scream into a pillow. No joke. I literally had to scream into a pillow. I cried. I sobbed. I think that it has such great representation with disabilities. It has such great LGBT representation. The main character is like disabled. She doesn't have like a leg, and she's still so badass. It doesn't stop her at all. And then we also see like these MLM couple and them having to navigate like being royalty, and there's also the gods, and there's like some little gods that come together, and it goes to show that like you don't have to be super powerful to make a difference. Like you can just do good in your life whether you are like a god or a king. And it's just, I really love this series, and I'm actually so sad that it's over. So those are the books that I read the first week of April. So far the month is going really, really well. I gave all the Fruits Basket books 5 stars. I gave Faithbreaker 5 stars. I gave Devour of Men 4 stars, and I gave the WAIF 3.75. So it's actually going really well so far. Okay, so this is Sunday the 13th. I just finished my reading for the week, and I read 4 books. I am halfway through a 5th one, and I'll go ahead and give my feelings on that one, but I'll give like the true rating next week. But first book I read was Just One Look. This was for the inscription prompt for Magical Readathon. And I'm actually really, really surprised by how much I actually enjoyed this. I think I'm giving it like a 4.25. This is about a woman. It's a stalker like book. I don't want to call it a romance because it's not really a romance. It's a book about a woman that stalks someone. But it is essentially about this girl who she works in, she lost her job and she's starting at a new place, and she is working like at like a temp job at a lawyer place where essentially she's going to be like filing through emails and like documents and saying like what's relevant to the case and what's not relevant to the case, and that's all her job is supposed to be. Well, when she starts the job, she realizes she's actually getting personal emails from someone, and through those emails she becomes obsessed with them. Like she falls in love with him through these emails, so she starts like stalking him to figure out what she starts stalking him to see like who he is, and like she finds out that he's married, so she starts trying to like become his wife. And that's not spoilers, like I feel like that's literally like in the storygraph description. I'm just kind of like regurgitating it. But I'm actually really shocked because I've never read a stalker book from a female's POV, and also like there's actually a huge reveal at the end where it's like not what you thought at all, and I was literally flabbergasted. I was like, oh, this took a turn that I was not imagining. I was like, holy cow. But yeah, it's really good. The Just One Look is kind of like a metaphor for the fact that like she's like, oh, it's harmless if I just take one little look at these emails, like nothing will come from it. But in reality, like something does come from it, and it wasn't just one look. Like one look is never enough. So it's kind of like a metaphor for that. So this is how I started the week, and it was a really, really good read. I got this from a book Comic-Con, and I got it like as a blind date. So I was really surprised, and it was really good. And then I read Fearless, which I gave 5 stars. I literally cried over this book for 2 hours. I gave myself a headache from how much I was crying. It's so good, and I can't really tell you what it's about because it's the 3rd book in a series, but I'll tell you what the series overall is about. So it follows Peyton and Kai, and they live in this world of like these people like have powers, but some people don't have powers, and the people that don't have powers are kind of like shunned away from the community, and the people that's in power, they have the like they're like living in like this their own separate part of the city, and like they pretty much think they're better than people with no powers, and they pretty much say the reason why people don't have powers because they're diseased. They're called like ordinaries and like elites pretty much, and the book series is about how there's these trials and about Peyton who enters them, and that's really all I can tell you. But it's really good. The bantering is top notch. If you want a book that's gonna like carve your heart out, really recommend, because the last one did that for me. But Peyton is like, I love. And there is a little bit of a love triangle, but not really. And it's not in the way that you think it might be. And I really enjoyed this series. It kind of gives like Hunger Game vibes, but like not really, because it's different, but it has like, it's like, even the author has said that she's drawn a lot of inspiration from other popular dystopian books. So you do see those similar elements in it, but I do think it stands on its own. I think it's a really, really good book, and I think, especially for the fact that Lauren was only 18 when she wrote it, like, reading a book from an 18-year-old that I think is that good, like, impresses the heck out of me, because I'm about to be 26 and I've literally never wrote something that good. I'm like way older than what she was at the time, and she wrote something so good that's so popular, and I know she's wrapping it up at like 21, 22 now, and I'm just really excited to see what she comes out with next. But it's a YA series. It does have a little bit of fade to black. I definitely would say if you want like a tournament kind of book with like romance, I recommend it. And then I read Watermoon, which, holy cow, did this blow my socks off. I have heard such amazing things about this book, and for some reason I was so hesitant to read it. Like, I kept hearing all these good things. Well, it was the guild book for Magical Readathon, and that's what finally pushed me to read it, was because of Magical Readathon. And holy cow, guys, I wish I would have read this way sooner. So it is about, the character works in this shop. It's like an antique store, but they don't sell antiques. They actually take people's choices. So the way that it works is these people are lined up for a ramen shop, and when they go to enter into the ramen shop, sometimes they get put into her building, like it's magical. Like, you walk through the door thinking you're going to go into a ramen shop, and then, oh, you're actually in this antique shop, and they actually can make a deal to let go of these choices that are like burdening them. Like, so for like an example, like, let's say you have an ex that you're in love with, but you haven't been able to move past him. You could go to them and like give them the choice to like move on, and it pretty much like takes it from your mind and like eases you. But she's supposed to be taking over the shop because her dad is retiring, and on the day that she goes to retire, like her dad is retiring and she's taking over the store, her dad is just missing and the store has been ransacked. So the book is about her trying to unravel what happened, and there's like origami elements, and there's like magical elements, and like there is like a huge reveal that I did not see coming, and it was a little bit sad, and it was literally so good, and I give it 5 stars. I think it's actually one of the best books I've ever read in my life. I was amazed. I was amazed, and I don't think I've ever read anything like this before at all. Like, I have tried to think of books that I have read that might have a similar concept. None. I've literally never read a book like this. I would really recommend it. It even has like, there's like tea elements, and just wow, oh my goodness. And then the 4th book that I read was Sweet Obsession, which is the 8th book in the Dark Olympus series, and I am giving it 4 stars. But really, I'm gonna be so honest, I'm ready for the series to be over with. This series is 8 books deep, and I think we still have 2 more to go. And at this point, I'm like, okay, wrap it up. Like, I'm enjoying it, but each book that I'm reading, my enjoyment is like slowly dissipating to the point where I'm just like, okay, I want to know how it ends. Tell me already. Come on. This book follows Icarus and Poseidon, and they're in a relationship, and they have like this whole, it's about like sexual exploration, and like, it has a plot, but it's not really there. It's more like a romance. But I'm giving it 4 stars because I actually really like the romance between them, and the ending kind of made me tear up a little bit. But honestly, like, after I read the 10th book, I probably won't read anything else by KT for quite some time. I started off loving this series because it has like neuropronouns representation. It has like just really good LGBT representation in general. and it's really hard to find like non-binary representation with different pronouns and stuff in books. So when I was reading these books and I saw them, I was like, oh, this is great, and I've been loving it. But I will be honest, the last book was supposed to be asexual representation, and it was barely there, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I think since then I've kind of not necessarily lost respect for the author, I just kind of have lost expectations for the books. Like, so I just read them because they're quick, and then I don't think I'm gonna hold any good memories necessarily. Like, I don't think I'm gonna think about the series often once I finish it, and I don't think it's gonna be finished until 2026. So hopefully in 2026 I can just read the last one and then move on. This coming week is the week that I start my Shatter Me reread, and I'm so excited. But I do have three other Magical Readathon books that I have to read first, so I'm going to be reading quite a bit next week. So we'll see. This is my week update so far. So what? I gave one 4.25 and then 2 5s and then a 4. So we're going pretty good. Okay, so editing May here. I said in that clip that I had read 4.5 books, and I did have a clip talking about the book that I was in the middle of, but I went back and deleted it because right after I made that video, I went to sleep and I woke up the next day and went on TikTok, and the very first TikTok that I got was the fact that the author is racist. And I was like, no way. No way. So I immediately went and DNF'd it. I unhauled it. I took that footage out, and I'm really sorry that I talked about it in previous videos. I won't mention it in any other video going forward, but it was Greenlight, but by Jessie Hall, I believe is her name, is how her name is said. It wasn't in Greenlight specifically, but it was in one of her newer releases. She wrote something that was very harmful stereotype towards the Black community, and the Black community had even told her, like, in her arcs that it was problematic, and she just left it in anyways. Like, even after they gave her that feedback in the arcs, she was just like, oh, I'm gonna keep it. And that feels worse. Like, you got feedback that it was wrong and then you kept it anyways, and that feels like really just not okay. So I did DNF it, and I put my explanation on Storygraph that the author is racist, and I'm so sorry. I did do a search originally when I got the book back in November, and nothing came back. Well, in December, late December, this is when it all happened, and I didn't do another search because I was like, I didn't expect an author to be problematic after I'd already searched. Like, I didn't imagine, like, a month later she would come out to be racist. I just want to put it out there, let everyone know that sees my videos, please do not read that author because she does write racist things in her books. That's all I'm going to say on it because, you know, I don't want to give her any more attention than what she deserves. So, that's all. Okay, it's another Sunday that's come around. It is the 20th. It is Easter. I've read 6 books this week. The first book that I read this week was The House on Abigal Lane. This was a book that I found very quickly because I DNF'd Greenlight, and I just went over in the last clip why I DNF'd Greenlight. So I found this because it is the May Tiny Terror, so I just went ahead and read it a month early. It was like quick and easy. It was 50 pages. This I gave 4 stars. This is about this house that is like kind of haunted, but people disappear on the 2nd level. And it is like a collection of like interviews. It's kind of wrote like not like a book. It's kind of wrote like a true story, but it's not actually a true story. So there's like snippets of like articles, a snippet of interviews, a snippet of like essays talking about this house on Abigail Lane. And it's pretty much these people move in, and when they go upstairs, randomly, it's not always the first time they go upstairs. Sometimes they like visit multiple times. They just disappear into thin air. And no one knows what happened to them. But there was a couple instances where people witnessed the disappearance, and they reported seeing like weird things, like in the like clowns and lighthouses and just like weird imagery. And it's just like the whole book is about like what's going on with this house. And I like the fact that it was wrote like it was a true story, even though it's not, because it made it very interesting. Like, I was, like, on the edge of my seat, like, oh my goodness, like, what happened next? And, like, it'd be, like, the entries would be, like, a couple years in between, or, like, really far in between. So I'd be like, oh my goodness, when was the next occurrence? And had me literally on the edge of my seat. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Make the Fireflies Dance, which I am not holding because I did unhaul it. I think I gave it only 3 stars. This was a really cute, cheesy book, but not a book that I don't think I'll ever read again. It is a book about a girl who wants to have a perfect first kiss, but the kicker is she already had a first kiss, but it was like at a party and it was for a dare, and she's like, that doesn't count. Like, she wants her romantic first kiss. Well, one day at her grandma's birthday party, she goes into a movie theater, like the movie theater in the house because they're rich, and in the dark someone grabs her and kisses her, and she's trying to figure out who this guy is, and she's like, oh, well, who was at the party? So she, you know, makes a list of everyone that's at the party, and she starts going on dates with these people, and she kisses them, and she like wants to figure out who kissed her. And I did not like this for, I think, like maybe 3 reasons. The first one being, this is spoilers, so if you ever plan on reading Make the Fireflies Dance, I would stop now, listening now. The big one is, I consider what happened in the movie theater in the dark, I consider that a form of sexual assault. She did not consent to that kiss. She does not know who kissed her. She did not have a moment to even get asked for consent. They literally just, they were in the dark. She didn't even know that anyone was there. They just grabbed her and they kissed her. And she is like, oh, that was a really good kiss. But I still don't think that takes away from the fact that she did not consent. And that made me uncomfortable. That no one really cared about the fact that she did not give consent to this kiss. No one thought it was weird that someone just came up to her and kissed her. Like, they were all just like, ooh, I wonder who that is. And it's like, no, that's weird behavior. That's weird behavior just to kiss someone without them knowing. The second reason why I didn't not like this is because you never find out who did kiss her. She ends up falling in love with someone that she goes on one of the dates with. And she's like, oh, I don't care if I ever find out who I kissed because I have love now. And it's like, you might not care who you kissed, but I want to know who you kissed. I want to know who that you kissed so I can give them a lesson on consent, okay? I need to know exactly who kissed you. I need their address, and I'm going to show up, and I'm going to be like, this is what you don't do. You don't just grab a woman and give her a smooch. That's just freaking weird. But so you don't even know who she kisses. Like, whoever that kiss was in the dark, you never know. And it's supposed to be like, oh, like, she's letting go of that, and she found her true happy ending. I don't care. I don't care that she got a happy ending. I want to know who kissed her in the dark. That was, like, the whole drawl of the book, and you never find out. The book just ends. I'm just like, oh, okay. Third reason why I wasn't a super big fan of this book is that I did not like the main character really that much. She was kind of like dramatic, and she just got on my nerves a lot. She had way too much freedom. Like, she was out riding bikes. Like, they almost got trapped. Like, okay, so there's a scene. Let me try to set the scene for you. There is, like, they're at this beach, and there is, like, this strip of, like, land that leads to an island, and it's only accessible during certain hours when the water isn't high. And they decided to go there, and on the way back, the water rises. They almost freaking drown. I'm like, why would you have even risked that? They're like, oh, we lost track of time. No, I would not have been losing track of time. If that would have been me, I literally would have set a timer on my phone 30 minutes before the water would have been rising, because they do track those kind of things. Like, they do know when tides start and that kind of stuff, because the tides are, like, based off of the moon. I would have. Does she not have anxiety? Does she not have anxiety about the fact that she's getting kissed in the dark? She doesn't care about high tides coming in and drowning her ass. I'm like, this woman has way too much. She's not even a woman. She's like 16. She's like 16, 17. I don't even know her exact age. But she got way too much freedom, and she got way too much mental freedom, because the way I would have been stressed the entire time. First of all, the dates, she doesn't even set up herself. Like, her friends set them up as a blind date. Y'all, you will never see me on a blind date. I am in a relationship, but I'm talking about before that. Like, you would have never caught me in a blind date, because I need to be able to plan this date perfectly. And the fact that this girl was just like, yeah, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna go to these 5 blind dates. and she was just kissing people. Oh my god, the germs that she was probably spreading, and it was like these men really didn't care that they were getting kissed. It was just, I think it was triggering. I think it really upset the OCD and anxiety in me. I was just like, the whole time, I was just screaming stranger danger. So I unhauled it, and I gave it a 3-star, but maybe I should have given it like a 2-star, because now that I'm talking about it, I've been talking about this for a hot minute, and I think I'm more angry than I realized about this book. So I feel like we should move on. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I was trying to tell you I was going to do better about descriptions. Well, you just got them from me. That's what it does when I talk about books when they're fresh in my mind. You get all the thoughts. And then I read A Hunger of Thorns, which I gave 4 stars. This book was kind of giving Bridget Terabithia vibes, because it was like a witch who was a storyteller witch, so she could like make things happen, and she could like, people could see the things, but not everyone could see those things. So it kind of was giving like that vibe of like these teenagers going to their secret world, but the world was happening in like a nuclear plant that was abandoned, and it was like really slow, like in the middle, but I really liked the beginning and I really liked the end, so I just gave it like a 4 overall, and I kept it. It was really good. It's not sad like The Witch's Birthday, like it doesn't have a sad ending. It has a cute ending. It's really cute, and I will say, I think my favorite thing about this book is that she realizes that she's toxic. Like she realizes, okay, so it's about this girl who loses her best friend because they just stopped being friends one day, and she doesn't understand why she stopped being friends one day, and she's been blaming the other girl, and the other girl in the middle of the story, she finally tells her like, no, we stopped being friends because you were literally obsessed with me. You would not leave me alone. You were being weird, you were being controlling, you were being like almost stalkerish, and it's because she was in love with her. Like she was the big old L word. But well, she might have been bisexual. I don't actually remember what her orientation was, or if it was ever said. But she essentially, like that girl, when it was, you know, her friend tells her that, she has like a whole self-awareness moment where she's like, oh, I guess I was the problem. And she does like correct her behavior and try to make it right. And I'm proud of her for that, because not everyone would do that. Not everyone would have like a correction of like, oh, I was being a bad person. Let me learn my lesson and do better. So I really liked that, gave it 4 stars. And then I read A Fox and the Dryad. I don't know how to say this word. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Please don't hate me. I have feelings about this book. It took me way too long to read this book. I actually started my Shatter Me reread late because I was still reading this book. But I think I overall enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it like a 3.75. I'm not sure. It was really good, but so it was pretty much about this fae who was a like they have like 9 siblings, and all of their siblings have a specific talent. So it is about this fae who is a ballet. They do ballet, but their mom is very controlling. She controls like when they do their talent. They have to perform for her. They're not really allowed to leave the Fae land, and they've not really, like, they're kind of trapped there, and she controls their life. So he makes a deal for his freedom that he won't ever dance for someone again outside of her if he's allowed to leave the Fae land. So he leaves the Fae land, goes to the human land. I'm sure there's like actual terms for this, and I just don't remember them. So he's living in the human land, but the thing about it is that when he leaves, when any of their siblings try to leave, their mom just finds someone to take their place, like to like trap them. Like she makes deals with humans or other like low phase or like just desperate people, and they essentially take their spot, and then to like the cycle of abuse just continues. So just the one not being abused. So a human gets picked to be the new dancer, and they end up, you know, finding each other in the human land, and he's gonna try to help him break the curse. But this is a romance, so of course they're gonna like at some point, you know, it's a given. And I don't know what it was about this that I just was not I felt like it was so slow to get through. Like, it was like, the plot was great. I love the whole premise of like these dancers falling in love, and I thought it was very interesting about trying to break Faye deals. Maybe it was the writing, like maybe the writing was just too slow for me. I do plan on reading other things by this author. Like, I have 2 books of theirs on my Moving with Pride TBR, and they even do like a great job of representation. Like, the human uses they them pronouns, and I really appreciated that, and it is like a MLM romance, so I love that as well. And I don't know what it was, like a 3.75 maybe, because it took me so long to get through, but like more like leaning towards a 4, I would say. Like, not a bad book, would read more by this author, but just was not vibing with me in the time that I read it. Like, maybe if I read it some other time, it would have hit differently, but man, I was struggle bussing. I just realized that I've had the book sitting here and I never lifted them up. That's just embarrassing. Well, we're almost done, so we're gonna continue. And then I started my Shatter Me reread, and I read Shatter Me, and then I read the first story in the Unite Me novellas, and I'm gonna write from the same that I did the first time around, but I didn't actually write reviews the first time I read Shatter Me, so I'm giving Shatter Me a 4 stars. And my review of this book is that it started my love for the series, but there is a couple of moments where I'm just like, what? Like, I'm gonna put a whole vlog out where I like go into those moments, but I just feel like the author did such an amazing job of like laying the groundwork for stuff that comes out later in the series. And I feel like she does a great job of doing like good mental health representation. And I love the strike throughs to represent Juliet's mind. I love getting to know Juliet, and I just don't like Adam. And he's a big part of this book, unfortunately. And it is a reread, so I do know things, and it made me like Adam even less in the reread. And it just has so many sad quotes that I wanted to cry over, and I relate a little too much, and I don't know. I think it's a very enjoyable read. I'm not going to rate it any higher than I did the first time, because it's just like, I feel the exact same way that I did the first time. I just never wrote an actual review, so I will go in and write an actual review. And then the first story of this novella is from Warner's point of view, right after the ending of the first book. And oh my bejesus, I would give it a 5 star. Like, if I could rate just Warner's novella, I'd give it a 5 star, because you learned so much about him, and it's heartbreaking, but it's also like you get to see Warner for who he actually is. And I think it's so important for people to be reading this novella if they're going to read Shatter Me. So that is my reading for the week. I started Unite Me, but I'm on Unite Me, babe. That is not what this book is called. I started Unravel Me today as well, but I'm only 50 pages in, so I will be talking about this in my next week clip. But yeah, that's it. I had Easter today. It went really well, and I read 6 books. I gave a 3 star, a 4 star, another 4 star, a 3.75, a 4, and like a 5 if I could rate just Warner's novella. So not a bad week, honestly. I have officially completed Magical Readathon. I've done every single prompt, and now it's just Shatter Me. The only books I'll be talking about for the rest of these clips is just Shatter Me books. So, and then that's it. I mean, we only have like a week and some change in the month left. 10 days? We just have 10 days left? Heck yeah, it's been a month. I've been really enjoying these reads. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you guys next week when I talk about Shatter Me even more. Until then. Okay, so today is May 1st. I believe my last check-in was on Easter the 20th, and then I had my birthday weekend, so I got really busy. I thought I would go ahead and tell you what I read in the last week of April, and then the last couple of days of April. It was all Shatter Me books. I read 7 books. They were all physical. I read Unravel Me. I read both novellas. I read Ignite Me. I read Extort Me. I read Defy Me. I read Imagine Me. I read Believe Me, and then I read Watch Me. I gave, for my ratings, I gave Unravel Me a 4.5. I gave Fracture Me a 1 star. You can see that clip if you're interested. I gave Ignite Me 5 stars. I gave Shatter Me a 4.25. and I gave Defy Me a 4.5, and then I gave the Kenji novellas a 3.75 together, and then I gave Imagine Me a 4.75, and then Believe Me got a 5, and then Watch Me got a 3.75. I'm not going to go into why I graded those books the way I did, because I do have whole vlogs around those books. So if you're interested into why I gave those Shatter Me books those ratings, you can go watch the videos that pertain to those books. But this is the end of April. We have successfully completed my April challenge of reading 26 books. We did it! It was way harder than I thought, and I almost didn't do it. I literally had to read Watch Me all in one day to complete this. So it was chaos, but I've read 26 books. It's something to be very proud of. I read 26 books. I did a reread of Shatter Me from start to finish, and I also completed Magical Readathon this semester. I literally slayed the month. But thank you so much for watching. But April was like a really, really good month for me. I'm so excited, and I don't know. I am just happy that I did this, and I'm actually gonna take a break from reading for a few days because my brain hurts. I read so much so fast because May is the start of my Moving with Pride readathon, but I need a little bit of a break. So I am going to take a little bit of a break to play some games with friends, and then I'll be back to read in May, like read in a couple of days, and I'll do the same thing like I did this video. I'll do the check-ins every Sunday, and then we'll wrap up the month together after I finish all the books. So yeah, I think I gave all my ratings as I go, but I think my average was like a 4.2, something like that. I gave a lot of 5 stars this month. I feel pretty happy with how the month went. I did have another DNF, but that's not my fault. That DNF was not my fault, and I don't claim that energy. So this is it. This is my April review, my April wrap up, my April got some shit done, however you want to call it. And for an emoji to comment, maybe do a flower for spring. Do a flower for spring. Any flower that you will. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week, of course. And if you're gonna be participating in my Moving with Pride readathon, I will be streaming all month long. We'll be doing sprints over there. We'll be doing I guess I can tell you about it since this video is going up after I already announced it. I am doing an incentive where we are going to be freeing this rainbow cow. We have to hit 7,000 pages for it. Every 1,000 pages we unlock a collar. Once we unlock all these collars, we get a rainbow cow. And I made a whole backstory for it. I will show the graphic, but pretty much my cow from the pasture, my imaginary cow in my imaginary pasture, has gotten adopted by aliens. And these aliens will only send her back if we unlock all the collars to give her a makeover. All I'm saying. So if you're going to participate, make sure you come tell me what you read when you read it, and we're going to do page goals, and I'll keep track of the pages. And this is going to be May and June, and you should be looking forward to a lot of gay content the next couple of months. I have a lot of Pride ideas planned out, and you'll be seeing them. I think actually for May and June I'll be posting 2 videos a week some weeks, because I had so many ideas that needed to get out of my brain. So I'll see you when I see you, and you can come find me on Twitch if you want to do some reading sprints together. Bye for now. I mean, it's been great. Bye for now, everyone.